All right, YouTube, we're back with the 6R80. Remember I told you I was gonna do a transmission oil flush, and I was gonna do a shift kit, whatnot. Okay, after I started getting more advice from my friend that rebuilds transmissions, he was telling me how long has it been since I, switched out the oil. And I think on this truck, this is a 2010 F150, and it's got a 5.4 with the 6R80 in it. This one here, at 60,000 miles, I did a transmission flush on it. Right now it's at 132, and he told me it's time to do another transmission flush on it. But I gotta say, after adding the cooler, the truck stopped doing that horrible shifting. But still, I need to do the transmission flush. Supposedly this oil that Motorcraft has, because I've always used the original Ford fluids, it has a lot of friction modifier in it. So at a period of time, that friction modifier, it starts to dissipate. So now it's time for a complete fluids change. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the fluid change. I'm going to be removing the thermal bypass pellet that's inside this transmission. And to do that, we will have to unplug the bulkhead, unscrew the valve body, and there are certain things that I'm going to be replacing on the transmission to do this whole oil flush this time. So let's start with the simple stuff here. This is what y'all gonna have to do first. Of course, I got my oil pump here to prime out the oil out of this truck, because as y'all know, the 6R80s, it has this your dipstick is right here, so there's no way to add fluid in it. But what I like to do is use my little pump, put it in here, the tube, and drain all the oil out of it, and then I'll unscrew the drain pan bolts and drop the pan, so like that there's less mess. So let me get on it, guys, and I'll cut y'all back on. All right, everybody, I'm gonna show y'all the parts that I got here, just in case someone's gonna be doing this. This is what you're gonna need. This is the bulkhead connector. That's the part number, Ford part. Okay, next, these are those weird little seals. I got these at a transmission shop. They're those little tubes I was telling you about. So I don't have a part number for those. This is that other little seal that's inside the tranny. This is the part number for that. Okay, transmission filter. There you go, Motorcraft. This is the bypass valve for the heater core, so that you don't have a thermostat inside the transmission cooler lines. As soon as you turn on the transmission, it's gonna start cycling that oil and cooling it down. Since I got the O'Reilly transmission cooler, this is gonna help me keep that bad boy cool. Okay, and the last thing that I got here, sorry, it's inside my work truck. Shit, it's locked. Let me open it up. It's a transmission filter. Okay, let me open it up so y'all see the part number to that filter. I mean the gasket. There it is. And this is the metal transmission gasket. It's not the paper one. So those are the parts you're gonna need, guys. All right, let me get under there and start putting those little things together. To show show the video how this little pump works. Of course, you just put the one line inside that fill-up hole, and then the other one in your jug that you're going to be using to catch the oil. And as you can tell, the oil doesn't look really bad, you know, but it already has about a good 60,000 miles on this fluid, so let's drain it all out. Okay, there it goes. It's draining it. And I already drained one complete out of there, so this is going to be the second one. Okay, so as you can see, once it's all together, it's pretty dark, but when it's coming out of the hose, it still looks good. It looks red, but it is pretty dark already. So it's time for a fluid flush already. So let me drain all this out and I'll get back on with more progress. All right, now it's time to remove all the bolts all the way around the pan. Let me do that. I'm using my little impact. It's a 5/16. So just remove all of them. It looks like these back ones here are gonna be a little pain in the butt, but I could get them. I'll have to use my swivel. Okay. I like to leave 4 corners on these oil pans. I leave the 4 corners so like that it doesn't fall, and then I'll unscrew the front, then I'll unscrew the back while I'm holding it. All right. Wow, that's crazy. My actual bit stripped. Oh no, the freaking extension stripped inside. Oh well, I guess it's not made for that, so I'm overpowering it. Okay, so we got the majority of the bolts out, but now I'm gonna have to use my little small wrench, my ratchet, small ratchet with the 5/16 socket. So there you go. Now we gotta take off these back ones. So let me get this going, guys, and I'll cut y'all back on. Oh man, those were tight. I don't remember tying them that much. All right, guys, I'll cut y'all back on right now. Hey guys, when you get to this point, I gotta say everything's pretty good on my transmission. I was looking at the magnet. It doesn't have any debris on it, so we should be good. There's no metal shavings. That's what you want to see. Okay, next thing is we want to remove the plug that's behind the transmission, which is right there. Okay, let me see if I can get in there. Forgot exactly how you do this. I think you gotta turn it in a certain direction. Okay, I turned it up. I pushed it up. Let me see if I can get in there through the back side. Oh, there's the plug. I disconnected it. Okay, Let me zoom out the camera. There's the plug. I did it through the back over here, you see? Okay. And then what you got to do is you pull on this lever. I don't remember if it has a clip on there. Oh, from what it looks like, it does. This little thing right here, I guess you got to hold it. There it is. Okay, let me see if that bulkhead comes out through the back. Oh, there it goes. Came right out. There it is. This thing is known to leak, guys. So that's done. And now on this transmission, I think we're gonna unbolt all the ones that are 30 torques, and then this whole valve body should come down. So let me get on it. And remember how this goes here. That's your little lever from your shifter. So it attaches to this. So I'm gonna look at that before I start messing with this anymore. But you gotta pay attention to this little deal back here on the side. So let me get on that and I'll cut y'all back on, guys. Okay guys, this is what I'm working with. All right, I already took down the valve body. It's right here. As soon as you take it off, this little thing's gonna fall out of this hole. That's your thermal bypass pellet. This is what basically ruins a bunch of transmissions. If you live in the cold, this might help you, but if you live somewhere where it's hot, this will kill your transmission. This is for Chevys, Fords, and everything. So if you got a truck, you know, you got to take this out and put a bypass pellet in there. Anyways, we're going to remove this. We're going to replace this gasket. I'm going to leave it there so I remember how it goes. And we're going to remove these little tubes here. If I could pull them out. Because I think we're supposed to replace all these. I got a little kit to replace them. But I'll see you right now. I'll cut y'all back on right now. And I just wanted to show y'all what it looks like when you remove this. And that's what I'm working with. All right, guys. I'll cut y'all back on right now. Guys, I got the new seal up here. I put all the 4 little tubes up here. Now it's time for that thermal bypass. This guy's gonna go like this, just like that. I'm gonna have to put a little bit of grease on it to hold it up while I put the valve body back on there. But I just wanted to show y'all how it's gotta go. Okay, so it's gonna go like that. Okay, so let me put this back together and seal it up and fill it up with oil and start draining the torque converter. I'll show you how to do that next. All right, guys. Okay, guys, I'm underneath the F-150. I already drove it 8 miles and the temperature is at 163. Now that it has a thermal bypass delete on the transmission cooler lines, and the actual fan on the transmission cooler hasn't even kicked on. It's just radiating the heat without the fan, and it's been able to stay cool. Okay, the F-150, I already switched out the oil. I flushed out the coolant lines and got all the dirty oil out from the torque converter. After everything was done, I test drove the truck, and you know, I have the cooler for the transmission, and it would usually kick on right after, I say, a good 2 miles. And this time I drove around probably a good 7 miles, and I came back home and I noticed that the transmission cooler fan wasn't on. And now I could feel the transmission cooler warm, But I guess as air is flowing through the front of this grill of this truck, let me flip the camera around. You know, now that the air is actually flowing, you know, in through the grill, it's actually going through the cooler and cooling it. Since now we got circulation on those transmission cooler lines non-stop, that it's keeping the transmission cooler. I used my meat probe, the one that I was using for I used a meat probe that's digital, and I poked it through the actual little fins of the cooler, and it was reading 160. The actual fan doesn't turn on till 180. So using that delete for the bypass on the transmission lines to delete that thermostat, I guess it's a really good option, guys. So let me explain to y'all what I did yesterday. This is the transmission fluid my truck takes, Mercon LV. I always use Motorcraft products for my truck on the transmission, transfer case, and rear end. Anyways, what I did is yesterday when I was filling it up, I would come down here where the fill up stick is at. Oh, my dog's right there. And I would fill up the transmission till it was dripping. Okay, I gotta say it took at least a good 6 quarts to fill that pan up and for it to be dripping. I had 3 1-gallon containers of that transmission fluid. So what I would do is I would fill it up. I filled it up. Then I came. This guy wants to be on camera. Okay, then I would come up here and I disconnected this line and I connected a PVC clear line running into one of the 1-gallon containers. And while my son was inside the truck, I would have him start it up and I would drain 2 quarts out of that transmission. Then I would tell him to turn it off, and then I will go back to that, fill up the 2 quarts that I took out, and then I repeated the process till I got 5 quarts out of the transmission. Once I got the 5 quarts out, then I just refilled the transmission. I put it out on the street because my driveway's at an angle, and then I filled up the transmission to where it needed to be on the dipstick that it has. And everything that was wrong with my truck, guys, as in shifting issues, it's all gone. The truck runs perfectly good now. I don't have that downshift feeling, because every time I would be driving it and I would downshift, I could feel the downshift like hit in. And also too, when I would drive like down the freeway, I could feel every gear as it was being engaged, and it would feel like a thump every time it would kick in. And overdrive would hit hard, like someone tailgated me going a good 2 miles an hour. Not a real hard hit, but you could feel it, and it was concerning. So now that I did all that, it's all gone, guys. So I hope it helps somebody else out there. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up for me, guys. Thank you.